This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
There's more meat on the matter, I would imagine, on the move by the Miami Dolphins to release Jake Ruddick and to sign Reed Sinnett out of San Diego, the 23-year-old, which I think that's why you guys were bringing it up, that now Tua is off the injury list. There might be a turn here, folks. Some of you might be onto something that you were chatting about it there on the chat board. I think you might be onto something, and I think it might be dangerous territory for the Dolphins, personally for me, but that's just my opinion.
Buffalo Bills are not the New England Patriots front line. We did give up just one sack. Very encouraging, but this Buffalo Bills defensive front, that's a different animal, man.
Now, they must feel something because, they just asked him about Tua, and he said, hey, Tua's doing everything everybody else is doing, so we felt we didn't need to put him on the injured list already, that he's just like every other player now. So they must feel, okay, I'm not really comfortable with this, but they must feel like he's ready to take a hit. That's what that tells me. Now, do I agree with that? No, I don't. You know me, I'm going to stay with this. I think they should wait till November or December. But I don't know if the coach is going to say, well, if the offensive line continues to play well like they did this week and Fitz continues to struggle, I was wondering who they signed. And if they signed somebody with a little bit more experience, which you can do in today's practice squad, then you can still have that person come off the practice squad straight into the game ahead of Tua. But now, if you're going to sign a rookie in Reed Sinnett, because I remember this guy's name when he was coming into the draft, then you're not going to put this kid ahead of Tua, because this kid just got here to learn this system and he's a rookie, and that doesn't make any sense. With Ruddick, it would make sense because Ruddick's been in the league a few years now. So he's kind of settled in already at this point. So I get that. But in this case, some of you out there might be onto something. It looks like they're ready to play Tua. He is the next quarterback for sure, whereas I was convinced it was going to be Ruddick, right, because of the experience, and then you don't have to sacrifice Tua, especially – if the team is not playing well up front. That would be a problem. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I would think that Tua was not going to play right away. Now, if Reed Sinnett is the guy and you don't have Jake Ruddick in there, and here's the other thing that tells you about this move. They must like something about this kid, right? Like, They must legitimately like something about him that they can work on and try to develop. And that's why they brought him in. Because if you're going to let go of a guy like Ruddick, who at least you're comfortable with, that knows your team a little bit, and there's a comfort zone there, and he's got some experience, so at least you can throw him out there to get by a game or whatever. This tells me that they didn't have a lot of respect for Rosen. They didn't think they were going to build much there. They look at Ruddick as a guy that was just to kind of get you by during this time with Tua. Now they must feel Tua is 100% or as close as you can get from a hip injury. That's what it has to be here, okay? Which I'm a little shocked that in week 2, in the middle of September 17th, that you're already at this point. That's kind of odd. I'm not comfortable with Tua taking hits, but they've got the doctors, they've got the coaches, they're around the kid all the time. It's their call, man. It's their call. But there's no doubt that is one thing that I'm getting from all of this, is that they are pretty much ready to play Tua if they have to. It's not something that they're willing to go to right away, right now. That's what they want to do. But you can tell that it's something that if it comes up now and they need a quarterback, it's going to be him. He's the next guy in line.
Let me throw a scenario. Just, we're battling for a playoff spot, and Fitz goes down. Maybe this to see if we could rely on Tua in the event something like that transpires, or do we need to make a move before the trade deadline?
They're not doing that. They would have signed a veteran out there. They would have done that already.
They wouldn't have waited to see if we're in the playoffs or not.
No. This tells me that they are moving to the next step with Tua now. They're convinced.
I'll be honest. I feel like you, man. We're not even talking because you're talking late November. This is only 10 months of that hit, man.
I know.
And you're still talking a rookie defensive line. You know something?
Offensive line.
I'm sorry. Yes, offensive line. If Buffalo's defensive line does a number on us, does that path change? Maybe. You know what I mean? There's a lot of variables here.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to see how they handle all of this.
10 months, man. 10 months.
There's no doubt that they're telling us that Tua has taken another step closer to starting with all of these moves. If you're willing to let go of Ruddick and pick up a kid, a baby, and put him on the practice squad, then you're looking to develop that guy. You must like something about him. But also,
and this guy doesn't know nothing about our system. Ruddick's at least been with the Dolphins. He knows,
Yeah, so I just think that this is something that this tells you that they're willing to, take a chance with the guy now. That's kind of scary. Mike says, I think the Dolphins approached that New England game as a preseason game from an offensive standpoint. The simplistic deep passes and run between the tackles were to see if the O-line were up to the task. Mike, you know Brian Flores already. If it's a real game, he's trying to win, bro. They just got outplayed, my man. Don't look at it that way. They're not good enough to approach anything that way. Okay, where they can experiment and give away a game or anything like that. A guy like Flo, he coached that game to win that game, and so did everybody else. They just couldn't win that game because they weren't good enough. That's all.
Yeah, we're not like holding back anything to save for we're all in on a W.
Yeah, no, I don't think it had anything to do with that. Man of 1,005 host says, if Tua's ready, go right ahead. We trusted Flores for a while. Let's keep trusting him. You're right. I mean, you could do that. I'm not a fan of putting him in there right now, 10 months removed from that surgery. I am not a fan of that. But now, listen, that's not to say he's going to play this week or next week or in the next month. If Fitz is healthy and playing well for the next month, Tua's not going to see the light of day. I think that's what they're hoping for. They're not hoping to throw him into the fire right now, but they kind of feel he's already ready for it now. In other words, health-wise, he has taken a step forward that they're willing to take the chance instead of putting Ruddick in there. So then they said, okay, we don't need Ruddick anymore for emergency purposes. Let's use the practice squad for what it's meant for, development. Let's go find a kid that's got something that we can develop in. And that's, I would imagine, what they saw in Sinet, some kind of a development guy. Let's see. Is anyone else thinking that the coaches in Tampa still wanted Rosen? This could have been an under-the-table trade that works for everybody. No Tua-Rosen conflict. No, because it was a release, my brother. And then he cleared waivers. So there can't be any kind of a trade or anything. You can't do that if you're letting somebody go to risk them going through waivers, you can't guarantee the other team's going to get them. So that makes no sense whatsoever. The Finns have had a horrible history playing players that have been injured. Do not play Tua until November. Hey, listen, just because I don't want him to play to November and maybe you don't want him to play to November, maybe the kid's a quick healer. That's all. Just because he's injury prone doesn't mean he doesn't heal. So maybe he's a quick healer, and maybe they're right. And they're the ones that take x-rays and MRIs on this thing all the time, and they keep up with all this stuff. So, again, it's like the other listener said, got to give him the benefit of the doubt at least. At this point, that's what we have to do. We have no choice.